Hi, my name's Ross Lewis. I've been a project worker for Android Adolescent Care for 4.5 years, and I've had a direct involvement in the development of the CHAT review. CHAT stands for Children's Home Assessment Tools. Now, these are a series of documents that Android developed in order to monitor and ultimately improve the quality of the care and lives of the young people that they work with through a system based on the critical matters of their lives as defined by Every Child Matters. These being staying safe, enjoying and achieving, being healthy, making a positive contribution, and economic well-being. And more information on these headings can be found if you search online for Every Child Matters. Now, the system proved successful in terms of helping identify the needs of the young people, but also in giving visual representations on how they were doing, and Android could finally evidence that what they were doing was showing a marked improvement in the lives and behaviours of the young people. Android then thought, well, how could they adapt that to measure the work of the project workers and also the seniors and the management and the overall organisation as a whole? Over 2 years, a system and suite of documents were developed and tweaked in order to do this, and Android are now looking to share it with the greater care community. So before I just show you a bit about the documentation and how it all works, let me just explain what it can do in some bullet points. It can highlight areas in the lives of young people that need help and attention, which is essential. It's at the core of everything that childcare stands for, and should be at the heart of the best practice. The young people come first, and the tool evidences what needs to be done in terms of bettering their lives and their behaviour. It can give professionals involved in the lives of young people at a glance information on their progress to save on time with the endless going through of huge amounts of paperwork as is involved in childcare. It can evidence that young people are benefiting from your care, which is a notoriously hard thing to do. Obviously with sales, you have targets, and it's quite easy to sort of show some figures and show just how well you're doing. But with childcare, it's a completely different ball game. And while it's very hard to just sort of put a figure on how well a childcare organisation is doing or give it a stamp of approval, although Ofsted obviously do that, to go about evidencing outside of what Ofsted can do for you once a year. You can do this yourself in-house to prove that you're good, which is a first as far as we're concerned. It gives you valuable feedback from young people and staff, which is obviously essential for the progression of an organisation. You could be blindly ambling on, and the kids could be left scratching their heads. So it's important to get that feedback from not just the people that work for the company, but also from the young people. It assesses staff on a basis with which to identify strengths and areas for improvement. And also this kind of ties in with appraisals and PDPs. If someone has done a chat review, then they will have a lot of information that has been gathered that can be brought to appraisals, can be brought to PDPs for easier evidencing of just how well they're doing. And it also overall creates a culture of self-improvement throughout the organisation from the ground up. So everybody is having introspective look at how well they're doing, assessing their needs, assessing their strengths, and assessing which areas might need a bit of improvement. So it gives a good forum for staff and supervisors to come together and look at what needs to be done and in which direction they need to go. Okay, when you open up the chat suite, you get these folders, and we're going to open up the young person's document in Publisher. It's the editable version. You get a page for each aspect of their lives under the Every Child Matters headings, as you can see, and a summary page. So we're going to look at being healthy. I've added some text in. You'll have to elaborate furthermore on that. But you tally up the score by looking at the key at the bottom, and matching the score up to the specific aspects of their lives, and you add it into the score box. It's important to point out that these are malleable. It's not set in stone. Every child is different, obviously, and it's down to you to alter it if you see fit. But this is generally very fitting to young people's lives. So you had that score, you add a score to each of the other 4 sections, and then on the final page you tally up those scores and give them an overall. You compare that to the last score and you can see whether there's an increase or decrease. We're going to call it 60 for this one, and you add in an evaluation that you will do with the young person, a little summary and what they think. So you go over to the breakdown graph, and I've already added these in. It gives you a nice visual on the different aspects of their lives, and we've also got an overall graph. So we've tallied it all up to 60. Next month you might get 65, the month after that 70, and so on, and you start to build a nice overall picture of their improvement over the year, and you can actually copy this graph and paste it into your document, and you can move it about, shift it about, and add in that along with the young person's input, your input or the reviewer's input, and you have a nice presentable document to give to any professional involved in the young person's lives, and that really sums up the young person's chat review tool. So that was an example of the chat review for the young person, but the suite comes with separate tools for project workers, senior project workers, managers, and an overall assessment about the way the young people feel about their care, that reviews the organisation as a whole. Each tool is totally different to the one we've just seen, but equally straightforward and useful. If you'd like to purchase or learn more about the award-winning chat suite, you can click on the link. There's also a series of useful links on the page surrounding Reader and the childcare related work that they do. And do follow us on Twitter for further developments. Okay, thank you very much for watching.